Okay, good evening. This is John Bushko. That in front of you is a picture of a courthouse in Philadelphia for the Third Circuit, where I attended a trial for the Child Online Protection Act in October of 2006, where the judge would overturn it in 2007. That was the bill, you will recall, not to be confused with COPA, which was the Child Online Privacy Protection Act, which required internet sites at the time to provide adult ID verification if they were commercial and if they allowed content that might be harmful to minors, which was a very subjective thing, which I was concerned about my own site, which was marginally commercial and which actually needs to be, and which might, a few passages, because I had my books on the site, might arguably have been viewed that way, at least by some people. So I was a plaintiff under Electronic Frontier Foundation. But there are a couple of other recent developments I just wanted to call your attention to. One of them is in Utah. There is a New York Times article by McKenna Oxenden. There's a new state law that goes into effect tomorrow there in Utah that apparently requires age verification to sites or platforms with explicit adult content, and it might be copied in a lot of other states. And Pornhub, according to this site, which blocks users from Utah from using the site at all because it can't really distinguish between kids and adults very easily. So that sounds a lot like the problems with COPA. And then Electronic Frontier Foundation has a very interesting discussion from May the 2nd by Jason Kelly about the Kids Online Safety Act, which would hold platforms liable if state attorney general sued them over harm to teenagers, particularly suicide and drugs and body image and that kind of thing, eating disorders, and arguably it could get mixed up with all the issues about gender ideology, which would be very complicated. And even though I personally don't think kids normally should get gender affirming care, they should still have information about it online, because I don't believe in the censorship, even though I'm very concerned about what's actually happening in some cases. But that's another topic. I've talked about that before. But I tried a few, it sounds like we're headed toward a system where maybe all sites would have to require user logon if they had anything remotely adult at all, which is what COPA would have done, COPA, back around when it was passed in 1998. It sounds like that all over again. I tried a number of random sites, and I tried YouTube. I found I could get onto YouTube without signing on and view a relatively adult video if I wanted to. I just tried that a while ago. And I tried Pornhub. I'm in Virginia, and I went to the free page. It showed porn content, which I will not show you here, but I tried the experiment. Right now, nobody seems to be requiring you to log on unless they want you to pay for the content, in which case you do have to have an account and use a credit card, which is normally the way you're supposed to verify adult ID, although that's, as we know from back in the days of COPA, that's relatively unreliable. So that's the other thing, of course, is there's talk about platforms requiring not being available to minors under 13. There's talk about a law like that. But that's what I've got right now. So just keep an eye out for these issues. But I don't understand how this thing in Utah and even COSA wouldn't be too much like COPA, which was already overturned as unconstitutional.